What if the reason people don't respect you has nothing to do with your talent, your intelligence, or your hard work? What if it's the tiny behaviors you repeat every single day, the ones you don't even notice, that quietly tell the world you're not to be taken seriously? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Respect is not given to the loudest person in the room. It's not given to the most emotional, the most aggressive, or even the most skilled. Respect is given to the person who controls themselves when everyone else is losing control. And today I'm going to show you 5 cold behaviors, simple, powerful shifts that instantly change how people see you. These are not tricks. They are not manipulation tactics. They are internal standards. And once you adopt them, you won't need to demand respect ever again. Let me start with the first one. The first cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: stop over-explaining yourself. Most people talk too much when they feel uncertain. They justify their decisions. They defend their boundaries. They explain why they're late, why they chose something different, why they said no. And every extra sentence is an unconscious request for approval. But powerful people don't over-explain. When someone says, "Why didn't you come?" they don't panic. They don't build a 5-minute story. They calmly say, "I had other priorities." And they stop. Silence. No apology for having standards. No emotional leakage. No nervous laughter. Here's what most people don't realize: when you over-explain, you signal doubt. And doubt invites challenge. The moment people sense you're unsure about your own decision, they step in to question it. But when you are brief and clear, something shifts. Your words carry weight. Your decisions feel final. Not rude, not aggressive, just grounded. Think about the people you naturally respect. They don't rush to fill silence. They don't scramble to justify themselves. They speak less, but when they speak, it matters. This doesn't mean you become cold or dismissive. It means you become intentional. If you say no, say it once. If you set a boundary, don't negotiate it emotionally. If you make a choice, own it fully. Because the moment you stop trying to convince everyone is the moment people stop trying to test you. Have you ever noticed how the moment you react emotionally, you lose control of the room? Someone criticizes you. Someone raises their voice. Someone disrespects you in public. And instantly your heart rate rises, your tone sharpens, your words speed up. You think you're defending yourself. But what you're actually doing is handing them power. The second cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: control your emotional temperature. Most people are thermometers. They reflect the temperature of the room. If it's tense, they get tense. If it's loud, they get louder. If it's chaotic, they become chaotic. But respected people are thermostats. They set the temperature. When someone attacks them, they don't rush to attack back. They pause. They breathe. They respond slowly. Not because they don't feel emotion, but because they refuse to let emotion lead. Imagine 2 leaders in a crisis. One panics, speaks fast, blames others, and looks overwhelmed. The other stands still, listens fully, and speaks calmly. Same situation, completely different presence. Who do you trust? Calmness under pressure signals strength. Emotional discipline signals stability. And stability attracts respect. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you master them. There's a difference. Suppression is pretending you don't feel anger. Mastery is feeling it, but choosing not to let it control your behavior. When someone tries to provoke you, they are testing your boundaries. If you explode, they win. If you stay grounded, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. You cannot move me. And here's the deeper truth. People feel safe around those who are emotionally stable. Safety creates trust. Trust creates respect. The strongest person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who can absorb pressure without cracking. Start practicing this in small moments. When someone interrupts you, don't rush to talk over them. When someone disagrees with you, don't defend immediately. Pause. Let silence sit for a second longer than feels comfortable. That pause is power. Over time, people will begin to notice something different about you. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. Your presence will become steady, grounded, hard to shake. And when people realize they can't control your emotions, they stop trying to control you. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Why do you feel the need to respond to everything? Every comment, every message, every opinion, every bit of gossip, every small provocation? Why? The third cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: don't react to what doesn't deserve your energy. Most people are addicted to reacting. Someone posts something indirect, they respond. Someone makes a subtle insult, they correct it. Someone doubts, so then they rush to prove them wrong. But powerful people understand something most don't: attention is currency. And where you spend it determines your value. When you respond to everything, you lower your status. You signal that your time is available to anyone who demands it. You signal that your emotions can be triggered on command. But when you selectively respond, something changes. Silence becomes a filter. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not every battle deserves your presence. Not every opinion deserves your correction. Think about someone who is truly respected. When criticized publicly, they don't jump into every comment threat defending themselves. When someone gossips, they don't chase every rumor. They stay focused on their mission. Why? Because reacting to small people keeps you small. There is a story I once heard about a senior executive who was constantly criticized by a colleague. Instead of fighting back in meetings, he stayed calm, stuck to facts, and never engaged in personal attacks. Months later, when promotions came, guess who moved up? Respect is long-term. Ego is short-term. When you react emotionally to every slight, you're protecting your ego. When you ignore what doesn't matter, you're protecting your future. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you choose your moments strategically. If someone crosses a real boundary, address it directly and privately, calmly, firmly, once. But if someone is simply trying to get a reaction, don't give them the reward. There's power in being unmoved. There is power in letting silence speak. When people realize they cannot bait you, they stop trying. And when they see that your focus cannot be pulled into petty drama, they begin to treat you differently. Because nothing commands respect faster than a person who cannot be dragged down into small conversations. Your energy is limited. Guard it like it matters, because it does. Let me challenge you with something that might sting a little. How many times have you agreed to something you didn't want to do, just to avoid disappointing someone? How many times have you said yes, while your mind was screaming no? The fourth cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: say no without guilt. Most people think respect comes from being helpful, agreeable, and always available. They believe if they say yes enough times, people will value them more. But the opposite happens. When you say yes to everything, you become predictable, accessible, easy to use, and slowly your time stops being respected because you don't respect yourself. Here's a truth most people avoid. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to something that builds you. Respected people understand trade-offs. They don't apologize for having priorities. They don't over-smile to soften a boundary. They don't create elaborate excuses to avoid discomfort. They simply say, I can't commit to that right now, and they stop talking. Notice what's missing: guilt, justification, nervous energy. When you say no calmly, you communicate that your time has value. And when people sense that you value your time, they start valuing it too. This doesn't mean you become selfish. It means you become selective. There's a powerful story about a leader who would decline meetings that didn't align with his goals. At first, people were offended. They whispered that he was distant. But over time, something shifted. When he did accept a meeting, everyone showed up prepared, focused, on time. Why? Because access became earned. When your yes is rare, it becomes meaningful. But when your yes is automatic, it becomes invisible. Saying no will feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind will create stories. They'll think I'm rude. They won't like me. I might lose this opportunity. But here's the deeper truth. People may like you less in the short term, but they will respect you more in the long term. And respect sustains relationships longer than approval ever will. If you want to command respect, you must first command your own schedule, your own energy, your own standards. Say no once, calmly, directly, without apology for existing, and watch how quickly people adjust to the new version of you. Let me ask you one final question. When you walk into a room, do people feel your presence, or do they feel your need? There's a difference. The fifth cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: stop seeking validation. Most people don't realize how often they leak neediness. They look around after they speak to see who agrees. They adjust their opinions to match the room. They laugh a little too hard. They share accomplishments disguised as humble stories. They post not to express, but to be approved. And here's the harsh truth: the moment people sense you need their validation, they instinctively lower your status. Because respect is drawn to self-sufficiency. Think about the person you admire most. They don't constantly check if you approve of them. They don't chase compliments. They don't collapse when someone disagrees. They stand in their beliefs calmly. That calm certainty is magnetic. Validation seeking often begins in insecurity. We want reassurance that we're enough, that we belong, that we're seen. But the paradox is this: the more you chase validation, the more invisible you become. When your decisions depend on applause, you lose authority. When your confidence depends on compliments, you lose stability. And when your identity depends on agreement, you lose respect. Powerful people validate themselves first. They don't need everyone to understand their vision. They don't need immediate recognition. They don't need constant feedback to keep going. They operate from internal standards, not external reactions. There's a story about a young professional who constantly sought approval from his boss. Every idea ended with, "Does that sound okay?" Over time, the boss stopped taking him seriously. Not because his ideas were bad, but because his uncertainty weakened them. Contrast that with someone who presents an idea and simply says, "This is what I recommend." No desperation, no begging tone. Which one sounds like a leader? You don't command respect by demanding it. You command respect by embodying it. When you stop chasing validation, something powerful happens. Your posture changes. Your voice slows. Your words become deliberate. Your energy stabilizes. And people begin to sense something different. Not arrogance, not coldness. Certainty. And certainty is quiet. When you walk into a room without needing anything from it, the room begins to lean toward you. That's when respect stops being something you ask for and becomes something you naturally carry. Let me take you deeper. Because once you stop seeking validation, once you control your emotions, once you stop over-explaining and reacting to everything, something uncomfortable happens. People will test you. The sixth cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: hold eye contact and embrace silence. Most people break eye contact when they feel unsure. They look down, they look away. They start talking to fill the space. Silence makes them nervous. It feels like judgment. It feels like exposure. But silence is not weakness. Silence is pressure. And the person who can hold it controls it. When someone challenges you and you immediately start defending yourself, you release the pressure. When someone questions your decision and you rush to explain, you relieve their discomfort. But when you pause, when you look at them steadily, when you allow 3 full seconds of silence before speaking, something shifts. They begin to feel examined. Strong presence is not about louder words. It's about grounded stillness. Think about negotiations. The first person who speaks after the offer often loses leverage. Why? Because silence forces reflection. It forces the other person to sit with what was said. In everyday life, the same rule applies. If someone makes a sarcastic comment and you respond instantly, you play their game. But if you look at them calmly, say nothing, and let the moment stretch, they often retreat on their own. Silence exposes insecurity, but only for the person who fears it. If you can sit comfortably in quiet space, you signal confidence. You signal that you are not desperate to be liked. You are not rushing to fix discomfort. You are not afraid of tension. And here's what most people don't understand: eye contact is honesty without words. When you speak, hold it. When you listen, hold it. Not in an aggressive way, not in a stare down, but in a steady, relaxed way that says, I am present, I am not intimidated, I am not hiding. A presence commands respect more than performance ever will. Practice this in small conversations. When someone finishes speaking, don't interrupt. Pause. Let your response be intentional. Let your silence breathe. At first, it will feel unnatural. Your mind will scream, say something, ignore it. Because the person who controls silence controls perception. And perception shapes respect. Let me ask you something that most people avoid thinking about. Do your words match your actions? Because the 7th cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: do exactly what you say you will do. No more, no less. Most people don't lose respect because they're incompetent. They lose respect because they are inconsistent. They promise things emotionally and deliver them selectively. They say, I'll call you tomorrow, and forget. They say, I'll start Monday, and delay. They say, you can count on me, but disappear when it's inconvenient. Every broken micro promise chips away at your authority. And here's the dangerous part. People may not confront you about it. They won't announce that they trust you less. They'll simply adjust how seriously they take you. Respect is built on predictability. If I know that when you commit, it gets done, your words carry weight. If I know you follow through even when you're tired, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching, I begin to see you differently. Cold behavior means this: you don't overpromise to impress. You don't agree in the moment just to look capable. You measure your capacity honestly, and then you execute. There's power in being boringly reliable. In a world full of hype, exaggeration, and loud declarations, the person who quietly delivers becomes rare. Think about leaders you admire. They may not speak constantly. They may not post motivational quotes every day. But when they give their word, things move. That consistency creates psychological safety. People relax around reliability. They don't have to guess. They don't have to chase you. They don't have to double check. And when people don't have to manage you, they respect you. Start small. If you say you'll wake up at 6, wake up at 6. If you say you'll send the email tonight, send it tonight. If you commit to the gym 3 times a week, show up 3 times a week. These small private victories strengthen your identity, and identity drives behavior. When you become someone who keeps promises to yourself, your posture changes, your tone changes, your self-trust increases. And here's the secret. When you trust yourself, others feel it, because consistency eliminates doubt. And when doubt disappears, respect grows naturally, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Here's a question that most people never dare to ask themselves. Are you the same person everywhere you go? Or do you change depending on who's watching? The 8th cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: maintain unwavering standards. Most people adjust their behavior constantly to fit in, to be liked, to avoid confrontation. They laugh louder in certain rooms, soften their opinions in others, compromise boundaries to avoid tension. They think flexibility is charm, but inconsistency is weakness. Powerful people don't change to be accepted. They remain steadfast. Their principles don't bend based on audience or mood. Their presence is predictable, reliable, and unshakable. When you hold firm standards, whether at work with friends or in a crowded room, you signal something profound without speaking a word. I am anchored. I am unshakable. I am not swayed by fleeting approval. Imagine walking into a meeting and seeing people who cater to every trend, every whim, every opinion. Now contrast that with someone who remains silent, poised, principled, and deliberate in their decisions. Which one draws attention? Which one commands trust? Which one earns respect? Maintaining unwavering standards does not mean being rigid or cold. It means choosing your values and acting consistently on them, no matter the social pressure. Here's a story: a leader was once asked to bend a rule for convenience. Everyone else agreed quickly, trying to avoid conflict. He paused, evaluated the situation, and refused. Not angrily, not defensively, just firmly. Months later, when a crisis hit, everyone turned to him because they knew he would act according to principle even when it was hard. That's the power of unwavering standards. People instinctively trust those who cannot be bought, swayed, or shaken. People respect someone whose identity is not a reflection of the room, but of their own values. Start small, keep your word, enforce your boundaries. Hold the same standards whether someone important is watching or not. Observe how people start to adjust. Notice the subtle shift in the way colleagues, friends, or even strangers respond to you. Consistency is magnetic. Principles are quiet power. When you hold them firm, respect becomes inevitable. Because when people realize you cannot be bent, broken, or bribed, they stop testing you. And that is when your presence becomes commanding, almost unavoidable. You don't need to prove yourself. Your standards do it for you. Respect is not given to the loudest voice, the flashiest outfit, or the biggest promises. Respect flows naturally to those who remain true, unshaken, and principled, no matter the situation. Let me ask you something most people ignore. Do people truly know what you stand for? Do they only see what you react to? The ninth cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: speak with purpose, not filler. Most conversations are wasted energy. People ramble, over-explain, clarify unnecessarily, and try to be liked. Every extra word dilutes authority. Every casual apology erodes presence. Every qualifying statement signals uncertainty. Powerful people speak with intention. Every word is deliberate. Every pause is meaningful. Every statement carries weight because it reflects clarity, conviction, and self-trust. Think about leaders you admire. They don't fill silence with noise. They don't speak to impress or to gain approval. They speak to communicate, to guide, to make an impact. And because they speak with purpose, people lean in, they listen, they remember, they follow. Speaking with purpose requires mastery over three things: clarity, brevity, and timing. Clarity, know exactly what you want to convey. No vague statements, no hedging, no unnecessary qualifiers. Brevity, say enough to make the point and stop. Don't repeat, don't justify, don't over-explain. Timing, speak when it matters. Speak when the moment amplifies your message. Speak after listening, not while reacting. Here's a story. A team was stuck in indecision, endless debates, contradictory opinions. Then one person calmly stated their position, clear, concise, unshakable. No fluff, no apology, no over-explaining. Immediately the room shifted. People stopped arguing, the decision moved forward. Respect had been earned, not by volume or charm, but by the precision and weight of words. Speaking with purpose also signals confidence. When you articulate your ideas directly, without filler, people perceive mastery. They see that you've thought, prepared, and considered, and they begin to trust you. This doesn't mean being cold or robotic. It means being intentional. Emotions are powerful when paired with deliberate speech, but they lose impact when your words are scattered, reactive, or desperate for approval. Start practicing this in small moments. Pause before responding. Ask yourself, does this statement add value, clarity, or influence? Or am I speaking just to fill the air? Over time, people will notice a change. Conversations will shift. Meetings will flow differently. Your presence will feel heavier, not physically, but psychologically. When you speak with purpose, people don't just hear you, they feel the weight of your presence. And when that happens, respect is automatic. Here's the final question to leave you thinking. When people walk away from a conversation with you, do they feel energized, or do they feel like they just left someone's emotional chaos behind? The 10th and final cold behavior that instantly commands respect is this: embody calm authority in every interaction. Most people believe respect comes from proving themselves, dominating conversations, or asserting power aggressively. They raise their voices, they fill every pause, they respond to every challenge, they try to control outcomes through force or volume. But respect doesn't come from noise, it comes from presence. Calm authority is not arrogance. It's not aggression, it's a quiet, steady force that people sense the moment you enter a room. It's a combination of posture, tone, consistency, and energy. The signals that say, I am in control, I am grounded, I am not shaken. Think about someone you naturally respect. They don't need to raise their voice to be heard. They don't rush to correct every mistake. They don't over-explain or over-apologize. Yet their opinion matters. Their presence carries weight. Their words move people. Embodying calm authority requires mastery over three dimensions. First, physical presence. Stand tall. Move deliberately. Avoid fidgeting. Your body communicates confidence even before your voice does. Second, vocal presence. Speak slowly, clearly, and deliberately. Avoid rushing words or raising your pitch unnecessarily. Your tone should convey certainty, not desperation. Third, be mental presence. Listen more than you speak. Observe more than you react. Respond based on judgment, not impulse. Here's a story: a manager walked into a team meeting where tensions were high. People were shouting, frustrated and impatient. Instead of joining the chaos, he remained still, made eye contact, and spoke with calm authority. Within moments, the room's energy shifted. People paused, they listened. The meeting became productive. Respect was established without a single threat or demand. Calm authority is magnetic. People are drawn to it because it signals stability and uncertainty. It signals self-mastery, which is the foundation of influence. Practice this every day. In conversations, in meetings, in casual interactions, carry your calm center. Allow your presence, your voice, and your energy to lead the room, not your words alone. When you master calm authority, you no longer chase respect. You command it effortlessly. People notice, people follow, people defer, and most importantly, you maintain your integrity and self-respect while doing it. Respect is not earned overnight, but when you embody calm authority consistently, it becomes inevitable, undeniable, and lasting. This is the culmination. Control yourself, guard your energy, speak with purpose, uphold your standards, master silence, deliver on your word, and carry your presence like armor. Because respect is not given. Respect is commanded quietly, powerfully, and without apology.